Prager poo. Let's get it going.
Is there such a thing as truth? Or is everything, including truth, a statement of personal opinion or preference? In other words, is truth relative? For our purposes here, let's put aside the science angle. Yes, you can sit on a couch and not appear to be moving, but since the Earth at the equator is rotating at 1,100 miles per hour, you are, from that perspective, moving, and very fast. I'm not talking about that kind of relative.
Okay.
Let's confine ourselves to the more everyday questions of truth, like, does it exist? Once the answer to this question was obvious, usually confined to late-night discussions in college dorm rooms, but no longer. Truth is going through a...
No. Okay. Radical skeptics who have questioned the existence of everything, including the material world, have been around since ancient times. Like, just Google radical skepticism. There are people, like unironically, like, the idea that postmodernists are the one who like question truth before it. This is fucking ridiculous. Didn't Socrates do this shit? There were people like the what's it called? The cave? What's the Plato's allegory of the cave was literally about doubting the material world. So the idea that like, oh yeah, I know only that I know nothing. Yeah, exactly. Like the idea that like everyone knew for thousands of years that stuff exists. Then the postmodernists came and questioned everything. No, that's no. All right.
Tough time. A white woman feels black and represents herself to be so. She rises in the leadership ranks of the NAACP.
The Rachel Dolezal. I love it. The conflation. So so I like how at the beginning they were clarifying, they were being very specific, okay? What kind of questioning truth do we mean? Well, we don't mean the relativity of movement against solar bodies or anything like that. We mean like truth is a metaphysical concept. And then they jump right to the fucking association between postmodern questioning truth and Rachel Dolezal's fucking transracialism, okay? Here's a fucking excellent question for you, my friendos, okay? If you go back 150 years and you ask a fucking English person or an American whether or not they thought an Irishman was white, they would laugh in your face. And if you would argue with them, they would say, of course, objectively, they're not white. They're just fucking pale N-words. If you walked up to a fucking phrenologist, they would talk to you about how the skull of the Irish was inferior, that the bumps or ridges or the shape of the face indicated they were not one of the white race. And if you go up and ask these same questions today, people would be just as fucking baffled as the others, except in the other direction. Maz, Irish were allowed to immigrate to America and own property. And... oh, we have dipshits in chat now because of the I Hypocrite debate. So you guys can look it up. Yes, Irish people were not considered white back in the time. I know that disbelieving historical truth makes it easier for you to believe the things you do believe. But yeah, no. The range of what is and is not considered white has widened and shrunk with time. And the reason for that is because whiteness is a very arbitrary construct that has existed for a comparatively short length of time, some 450 years or so, and has usually been used as an exclusionary social construct. So with that in mind, if you can argue with complete sincerity and uniformity that Irish people aren't white just 150 years ago, and today you could argue the exact opposite, to what extent can you make truth claims about one being of one race or another? The most you can say is that a person's race does not belong to, or a person's racial identity does not adhere to what society would ascribe their racial identity to be, which is what people would say about Rachel Dolezal. That's what they would say. They would say, then and there, Rachel Dolezal's racial identity does not conform with our expectations and understanding of what it means to be black or white or what have you. Easy peasy.
NAACP until her fiction is exposed. She refuses to go quietly, however. She feels black, and so she is black.
except literally everybody disagreed with her, like as though this is some sort of social epidemic. Nobody was out there defending Rachel Dolezal. Everyone agreed that she wasn't black because transracialism isn't a thing. But it's fun how PragerU is pretending that like the postmodernist armies showed up to defend Rachel Dolezal.
A 69-year-old man in the Netherlands petitions the court to legally change his age to 49 because that's how he feels. And of course, seemingly on a daily basis, men and more boys with all the chromosomes.
Something happened to the audio here? Oh no.
And body parts that make them distinctly male declare themselves to be female.
See, this is exactly what I mean. So PragerU does the fun. It's the oldest meme in the book, okay? Here's Rachel Dolezal, the person who gets brought up 1,000 times more than her fucking social standing deserves. Here's one example of someone claiming to be a different age than they actually are. Therefore, trans people are wrong. So, no. Age is not a social construct. Age is a factual, material, empirically verifiable characteristic of one's body. You could argue like, oh, are you actually born like the moment you get pulled out of the womb, or are you born when they take your first breath? Apart from like the arbitrary line of where we begin one's life, and that is somewhat arbitrary because a baby inside and outside of the womb are not necessarily that different in terms of brain ability. Age is pretty objective. Pretty objective. Race is a social construct. However, we, generally speaking, do not subscribe to the belief that one can have a racial identity. Like, one's identity of their race does not ascribe their race. So if I identified as black, that would not be considered legitimate because race is not considered to be a mode of identification. You can identify as a member of a given race. Say, for example, if you're mixed race, like half white, half Latin, and you could pass for both, you can identify in either direction, but that has more to do with which elements of culture you want to borrow from and sort of ascribe to yourself. It doesn't actually have to do with you, like, choosing one over the other. The fact remains that a person who's half Latin or half white remains half Latin and half white, insofar as these things can be said to be true within the confines of our very arbitrary, very socially constructed system of race. And then you have gender. Gender is identity. One identifies as a gender. So there is no such thing as a man who identifies as a woman. There is only a woman. Same, there's no such thing as a woman who identifies as a man. There is only a man. The identity is what matters there. The identity is what determines who or what they are, because it is a matter of identification. I used this example earlier. If I identify as a fan of a given thing, if I say I'm a fan of anime, for example, that can't be disproven. Even if you could prove that I have never in my life watched a single anime, that doesn't matter. What if I'm a fan of the concept? What if I'm a fan of the idea? What if I'm a fan of the idea that I've constructed in my head without having actually watched any anime? It doesn't matter. I'm still a fan of anime. The sincerity, the legitimacy of one identifying as a fan is exigent of any material conditions. It's identity. So PragerU is going to pull this back and say that trans people are an example of postmodernists waging war on the concept of truth, when nothing could be further from the truth. It is in fact PragerU and conservatives and their ilk, people like iHypocrite and blah, 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 who are obsessed with the destruction of truth, because it is a truth that gender and race are social constructs. It is a truth that the way in which postmodernists deconstruct truth is different from the way in which one could say a trans person deconstructs the gender binary. They ignore all of that. They ignore that truth because they're interested in pushing a political agenda. But I ramble on ahead. Let's finish the fucking video. Not that there's much.
And women and more girls likewise declare themselves to be male. They feel they're one sex or the other, therefore they are that sex.
No, they said gender. And then the conflation there, right there, between gender and sex. Gender is an identity, sex is not. Sex represents biological characteristics. Gender is an identification and a cultural thing.
And we must accept that regardless of what the truth is. In a viral video, a 5'9" American Caucasian male asks students at the University of Washington to acknowledge that he's Chinese or 6'5" or a woman. Some hesitate, but no one will tell him what he's saying is not true, that he's not what he says he is. That would be mean and intolerant.
Well, no, probably because they thought he was fucking deranged. If a fucking white guy with a camera and a mic ran at me and they were like, hey, say I'm Chinese. Say I'm Chinese. I'd be like, okay. Like, fuck. No, I don't think it's because people looked at him and they were afraid. They looked at it. They looked at the 5'9" white male and they saw him and they thought, I want to say it. I want to say the truth, but they're gonna get me. No, this is very stupid. It's like people don't correct the wrong people in public when held to it for a wide variety of reasons.
This true for you but not for me relativism is disconcerting because it...
Wait, true for you and not for me? What the fuck does that mean? Are they establishing some hypocrisy here? Because they haven't done so yet. All they've done is indicate that things they consider to be objective truths are being deconstructed. And they've done so very dishonestly. Where have they indicated... Oh, I'll turn the volume up. Where have they indicated the existence of hypocrisy?
Requires the acceptance of obvious contradictions, denial of reality, and common sense.
Common sense is a tautology. There's no reason to argue against that. I don't give a fuck what some 70-year-old fucking white boy thinks is common sense. Common sense leads you down a bunch of bad roads. What I care about is truth and facts and logic and reason and blah, 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 Ben Shapiro shit. And sadly, everything I'm saying here seems to be held as the common consensus in all the circles that have the academic legitimacy when it comes to these subjects. So, for example, when I say that gender is different from sex, when I say that gender is a means of identification, it's a gender identity, not in the same way that race or age are, what I'm spitting right now, what I'm siding out, these are facts. This is truth, okay? PragerU, not really comfortable with that, making up their own shit. And I respect that. No, I don't.
Rather than adjusting our lies to the truth has to adjust itself to us.
No.
But it's very difficult to live this way, not to mention it being highly impractical. We rely on mind-independent, universal truths in order to think clearly, to navigate life. Otherwise, we quickly get lost.
I see, this is exactly what I mean. This is the conflation of, like, postmodernist critique of truth with, like, the existence of trans people. Trans people have nothing to do with the critique of truth. Like, just so you all know, like, hey, listen up right now, okay? Postmodernists, like, there's no one, like, concrete narrative to history. There are many paths. There is no way to identify an objective truth or what have you. That's postmodernism. That has nothing to do with trans people. Trans people are fucking obvious. This is an easy fucking, this could fit within a fucking modernist system. The existence of transgender people. Hey, we thought we had a gender binary, or we thought that, like, sex and gender were immutable characteristics of one's self. Hey, turns out sex isn't binary. This is scientifically supported by, you know, a wide variety of scientific organizations, modern, that sex is not binary. Hey, turns out sex isn't binary. Also, gender is a means of identification that more closely aligns with the definitions we've used over the years, and it seems to best describe the phenomena we experience. That has literally nothing to do with postmodernism. There's no relationship whatsoever between these things. But in the very sort of like alt-light way, PragerU is asserting that there's this broad academic conspiracy of postmodernists to subvert the idea of truth and deprive it of you, but keep that for themselves. I don't know how they've established that. At no point in this video have they shown an example of, like, postmodernists believing a thing but telling other people to not I have no idea what they mean here.
There must be some things that just are, things that are true. This way points north for everybody, no matter what anyone happens to prefer or sincerely believe.
The fuck are they talking about? Yeah, gender's an identity, no matter how they want to prefer, sincerely believe. Like, these are unrelated concepts. Right now, PragerU, it's the Mott and Bailey. PragerU is arguing in defense of the existence of empirical truths, but using that to argue against the idea of social constructs being different from the way they imagine them to be, which are two completely separate arguments. But it sure does make their points about transgender people being delusional sound a lot more legitimate when they're like, just empirical facts, my dog. Sun is hot, bright, very shiny star. North point, compass point up, which is north. Also, trans people dumb and gay. Shrug. Like, it makes your point sound a lot more legitimate when you get to bury them in obsequious half-truths that everyone else accepts uncritically. Obsequious? Obsequious? What does it mean? Like, Obsequious. I think it's obsequious. Obedient or attentive to an excessive or servile degree. Is that what I meant? That isn't what I meant. Okay, I must have meant another word. Well, we learn every day.
So what is truth? At its root, truth is a match-up with reality. A story, a statement, or belief is only true if it lines up with what's real. It's like a socket wrench fitting perfectly onto a bolt.
This is an unbelievably stupid take. Again, what about race? Irish people weren't considered white. Now they're considered white. You either have to accept that whiteness is an arbitrary shifting definition that moves to encompass or exclude different groups of people, or you have to believe that Irish people have somehow like changed metaphysically to become white in that time period. Like, those are the only two directions you can take with that argument. Either race was wrong or Irish people have changed. That's the only direction that you can go with this. So, like, they're arguing right now against social... I've already saw this. Stupid shit.
Reality is the truth maker. Reality makes something true. To say the earth is flat or the moon is made of green cheese is false. Why? Because it doesn't match up with reality.
None of these things are social constructs. Easy to argue against social constructs when the arguments you use to defend your points are actually arguments in favor of obvious empirical truths.
Until quite recently, the purpose of all education in large part was the pursuit of truth. The motto of Harvard University, for example, is veritas, Latin for truth.
This has not changed. Academia is still about the pursuit of truth, and people who have been radically skeptical of narratives concerning truth have existed in academia for millennia.
No more. Mm-hmm. Anyone who says education should be about the pursuit of truth is immediately shot down with the comeback, whose truth?
Yes, that's a smart question to ask. Whose truth? PragerU wants a world in which the only truth people pursue are the ones that fit very concretely within the values that they hold to be true. So truth is the moon is not made of cheese, and also men are men and women are women and sex is gender, and anyone who says otherwise is delusional. Well, wait, hold on now. Gender is a social construct by definition. So is race. I feel like if we took a more critical analysis at these things, we could find systems which better describe our lived experiences and thus conform more greatly to reality. Your pursuit of truth, as you call it, is in fact an impediment to actual truth. You stand in the way of that you claim to pursue, to which they then scream and shit themselves.
People speak of my truth or say it's true for me or your reality, as though truth is merely a matter of opinion or...
Who says that? I don't say that. Who the fuck says that? And people might say it's my truth that, and then they'll say like something they personally experienced. I don't hear people saying, oh, well, it's my truth that the earth is flat and your truth is that it's not. I've never heard anyone say that in my life. Funnily enough, the only time I heard anyone say anything close to that was when I, hypocrite, fucking 2 hours ago, was unironically arguing that he didn't need data to make his arguments and that his feels and intuitive basis were all that he needed. That's the closest I've gotten, and it came from a fucking right-leaning person.
Perspective. At the 2018 Golden Globe Awards, Oprah Winfrey famously said that speaking your truth is the most powerful tool we all have.
Which obviously means just talk about what you've experienced. No, but yes, Oprah Winfrey, the radically skeptical postmodernist, delivering a message unto the world that everyone should speak out and ascribe that which they solipsistically believe to be true. What she meant was for everyone to get up and start talking about how, in their truth, actually, gravity doesn't function. We're all yanked down to the ground by fucking invisible, translucent air ghosts. That's what Oprah Winfrey meant. Oprah Winfrey didn't just mean talk about your personal experiences. Again, imagine being a fan of PragerU. Everyone, by the way, who listens to this quote from Oprah Winfrey knows exactly what she means. Nobody actually believed she was making a postmodern critique of truth. But everyone who watches this and likes it is going to pretend that's what she's saying, because the only way to deal with the overwhelming cognitive dissonance that you like saddle upon yourself in the process of being right-leaning is to force yourself to believe certain things that you know aren't true. So have a good time with that, my friends.
Now you can have your experience or your perspective, but there's no such thing as your truth or my truth. There is only the truth.
There's no such thing as the truth. There are facts, but as a As a postmodernist, let me come in with my bent here. What is and is not considered to be truth depends largely on frame of mind. You can form facts. Facts are empirical. For example, this phone weighs exactly 420 grams. That can be a fact. That's a fact right there. Of course, you can qualify this at sea level with Earth's gravity. There you go. Okay? That's a fact. All right? That's a fact. No one can argue against that. No one would argue the illegitimacy of that point, unless like the scale is broken or some dumb shit like that. Units of measurement are a social construct. Yeah, but they're a consistent social construct. And just because they're a social construct doesn't mean it's not a fact. So again, 420 grams, my phone, probably a little bit on the heavy side of that, but whatever. So that's a fact. However, what is a truth? Can you say, for example, that one phone is better than another? Well, you can't really. Even if one phone was absolute dog shit, if it was broken, if it didn't like make calls, if it was heavy and expensive, it was an absolute piece of shit, you couldn't really objectively say that one is better than the other because the characteristics which one uses to define better are going to vary from person to person. What if, for example, one person's ideal phone is one that is very heavy and makes a satisfying explosion when you throw it against like a wall? Unlikely, sure, but conceivable. And it indicates that the characteristics one determined like validate betterness or worseness. These things tend to be fairly personal. You can make arguments in favor or against different interpretations of what the truth is, but there is no objective truth. I would love to argue against anyone who thought there was an objective truth, for example, concerning, say, race or gender, or fuck anything, like literally anything. Any descriptive terms, for example, cannot be, a truth value can't really be assigned to them objectively. So, facts exist. Single objective truth cannot exist. This has been well known for millennia. Philosophers have been discussing this for ages. It is the very epitome of anti-intellectual, anti-philosophical horseshit that PragerU would very deliberately ignore that history to push a conspiratorial narrative that universities and people and George Soros or whatever are succumbing to this hyper irrational postmodern critique of society that leads us to believe that there's no such thing as objective fact anymore, and that has anything to do with trans people. It is the height of anti-intellectualism. And it is hysterical to me that PragerU, a YouTube channel that calls itself a university and acts as though it's possible to become educated on a subject by watching 5-minute propaganda videos, will argue Chicken Little over universities lowering their standards for truth finding while themselves arguing in extreme bad faith, anti-intellectually, against millennia of philosophical precedent. It is what I would like to call a good and a nice meme if you could only find objective bases for describing the characteristics which make one good or nice. Let's finish this fucking video.
That which is true for everyone. As Wall Street Journal writer Byron Tao noted, Oprah employed a phrase that I've noticed a lot of other celebrities using these days. Your truth instead of the truth.
Literally, I don't care who this one random fuckhead is or why he said this thing. Your truth just means your experience. It just means speak up your mind, say what you want to say, talk about your experiences, give your perspective. That's what it means colloquially. Doesn't mean I've seen a lot of celebrities kowtowing to the postmodernist critique of the existence of objective truth. Jesus.
But he added, your truth undermines the idea of shared common facts.
It does not. None of these celebrities have said this in a way which destroys the concept of objective facts, and postmodernists also don't argue against the existence of objective facts.
And here's another problem with your truth. If your truth is truth, anyone who doesn't hold that truth must be wrong. This sounds...
No. What? Is this like boomer speak right here? This is boomer shit. I've heard a lot of people saying their truth. I saw Oprah Winfrey say their truth. There's only one truth. Trans people aren't real. And Rachel Dolezal is dumb. They say this. They don't know what it means. Postmodernism is coming for us all.
It's a lot like narcissism. and it's intellectual bullying. Believe my truth or else.
What the fuck? Believe when Oprah Winfrey, hey guys, speak your truth, okay? Or else. What the fuck? Intellectual Jesus, these snowflakes. Talk about fucking narcissism. Everything is part of that. This is by the way, this is like JQ light right here. I ask you, PragerU, who's pulling the strings to push postmodernist, anti-truth, pro-trans, anti-white? Like, it gets back to JQ, but they'll like stop just short of that, you know?
Not exactly a positive pro-truth message. Yeah, truth is going through a tough time. I
agree, but not for the reasons this guy is saying. Because in place of a concrete, reasoned, good faith discussion on objectivity, truth, reason, and rationality, instead, literally millions of people are being radicalized by this, the absolute fucking bottom tier of discourse. This is this is worse info than a fucking pull thread, because at least a pull thread might have some dissenters in it that like argue against the narrative. This is just coordinated propaganda to make people stupider. Philosophers have critiqued the idea of objective truth for millennia in the past, and will continue to do so for millennia in the future. It will not change. And the reason why they're doing that is because objective truth doesn't exist, my friendos. Just doesn't. There are facts, not objective truth. Some things can be true. Doesn't mean there's a single unifying truth. People have known this for a long time. It's usually the most egregiously reactionary anti-academics who push any alternative.
Let's review.
Or the fucking religion, or the fucking Bible tards. Am I right?
Truth can't be relative. If it is relative, it's not truth. To say
I agree. There's no such thing as truth.
There is no truth for all people is to declare a truth for all people. In effect, you're saying it's true that there is no truth.
What?
And to declare that both your...
Wait, what? Postmodernist, by saying there's no truth, you're actually saying there is a truth. What? That is what they just did right there is unironically like a word-for-word ripoff of the, what is atheism but a religion? Because you're believing in not a god. Atheism is a religion. That's unironically the exact same argument they just made right there. Nice meme, PragerU. Hitting it up.
And my opinions are true, even if they contradict one another, is to speak nonsense. Truth is an opinion or preference. It's not subjective or relative. It is inescapable because reality is inescapable.
But reality is framed through human interpretation, and we communicate to others using language which is socially constructed and only vaguely hints at what we actually mean. There's a whole fucking theory of language out there, Wittgenstein being my favorite on the subject. People are popping the fuck off outside, Jesus. This is very dumb.
No amount of double...
Oh yeah, Wittgenstein, okay? We communicate using language that's socially constructed. When we say the river, what do we mean by the river? Do we mean the water that's in the river at the given moment? Rivers are defined by water. Okay. So in a minute, when all the water is downstream, is that portion of the river no longer the same river? Well, no, of course it's the same river. What about the ship of Theseus? If you take a ship and replace its boards one at a time, when does it stop being the ship of Theseus? If you build a new ship from the parts that were removed from the original, does it become the ship of Theseus too? Which one is the ship of Theseus? I subscribe to the idea that language is merely a descriptor, a signifier that signifies things that we mean when we refer to others. So the truth of a language, or the truth of a word, or of a term, or of a phrase, or of a sentence is ascribed to the specificity with which it relates to the ideas we're trying to communicate. But there you go, my friends. I ask you this. The ship of Theseus. Put your philosophical rigor through that. Find an objective truth on that. When does it start becoming or stop becoming the ship of Theseus with the original and the reconstructed second? There's no answer. It's not possible to find an answer. You can make suggestions, but there's no way to find an objective, truthful, empirical answer to this. I like, by the way, how they initially like opened up with the trans age thing and the transracial thing, because those are very obvious ones. Everyone gets like, grr, those fucking postmodern libcucks. And then they throw trans people in there, just trans people. And then they spend the rest of the video arguing that, hey, facts are real. It's very dishonest. It sure is an excellent way to get people oriented against the groups first mentioned, trans people, obviously being the only ones that are really relevant because there are very few transracial and trans age people out there, and then to spend the rest of the video literally jerking yourself off and firing ropes of crumb directly into your own throat.
Talk will change that, and that's the truth. I'm Paul Copan, author of True for You, But Not for Me, for Prager University.
This video was...
What a fucking embarrassment. Jesus Christ. Pathetic.